All right. Thank you for your patience, everybody. We've got defensive coordinator Brian Ward on our call. Thank you for the time, Coach.
No problem.
Um, so we are playing the 2024 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl on January 1st against Texas. And we have 15 minutes with our defensive coordinator, Brian Ward, followed by a few defensive players. A reminder, just please remain on mute for the duration of the call unless I call upon you, and then use the raise hand function when you have a question. And there's some new faces to our program on here. So state your name and affiliation before asking your question so coach knows who he's talking to. A recording of the session and a transcription will be available on the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl website later today. So let's open it up to questions, and then you can unmute yourself when I call upon you. We'll start off with Danny Davis. Go ahead, Danny.
Hey, Brian, Danny Davis with the Austin American Statesman. When you kind of looked over this Texas film, since whenever you started looking over it, what kind of stands out about their rushing attack, especially what they were able to do against Clemson in the first round?
Yeah, biggest thing is they overwhelm people just with their size and their athleticism up front. And Clemson was very sound defensively what they were trying to do, and guys, you could tell like you can get comfortable playing against certain levels of competition, and guys can get comfortable, up front, maybe basically peeking in a gap and then beating a block and then going and making a play. And you could see that Clemson guys were used to doing those type of things. And when they were doing it, they were just kind of getting overwhelmed up front. And when they would peak, their backs were patient enough to be able to, find open seams and exploit them. And, when you see a sound defense like Clemson and with some of the athletes that they had up front who are used to having success against the guys they lined up against, then going up against a front, an offensive line like Texas is, they were trying to do the same things that they'd done all year, and it just wasn't working for them, and it led to some explosive plays for Texas. And the backs are very patient; they complement each other, but they're really explosive, and they run the football with confidence that their offensive line is going to be able to cover guys up and open up running games, for them if they're patient enough. So just they present a whole new different set of challenges than we've seen all year.
All right, next up, Noah Gross.
Hey, Coach. Noah Gross out of KXAN in Austin. Wanted to add about that Texas offense. Coach Sark and everybody just always talks about how much control Quinn Ewers has over the offense in his third year. What do you sense as far as his grasp and how comfortable he is in making pre-snap decisions and things like that from what you've seen on tape?
Yeah, he's just a guy that just you could see how comfortable he is, throwing against zone coverage and knowing where to go with the football immediately by the time he hits his his back foot. And when he sets up, he can recognize deep zone coverages. He can recognize special players. He can recognize, when there's a middle of the field that's closed, and when the complementary coverage underneath the deep safeties is playing either deep or shallow. And when he hits that back foot and he gets rid of the football, that he's a guy that's comfortable throwing against any zone coverages. When he gets man coverage, he does also a great job of being able to see, where he wants to go to the football. So the biggest thing that you can see just from his growth from when he was a younger quarterback, and with each game, he gets more comfortable, as he continues to go. And that's just a testament. And that's a tip of the hat to the consistency of the offensive system that he plays in.
Max Cepeda.
Hey, Coach. Max Cepeda, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. Good to see you again. Just moments ago, Shamari Simmons, who obviously is going to be out for this first half of this game because of the targeting penalty in the Big 12 championship, said that he's Montana Warren's #1 fan. He had basically made a confirmation that Montana Warren's going to be the starter in his place. What are the conversations you've had with Shamari since that targeting process kind of quieted down when the appeal couldn't take place? And what are the conversations you've had just with the DB room as a whole, with Montana, and with the guys that are going to need to step up in that first half?
Yeah, tackle with your shoulder, not with your head and your face. That's been the #1 thing. And if you get a free shot on anybody, just same thing we practice every day and every week, slide the head, never hit with your helmet, never, hit with your face, and, always try to run through the football. And it was just one of those unfortunate situations, guys that are playing fast. And, Shamari, a guy started 25 straight games for us, never had a targeting penalty in his entire career. And, he was adamant that he slid his head. And if you watch the film, I mean, you can argue that the quarterback was a scrambler. If he felt pressure, he was going to step out, and he was always going to step to his right. And Shamari just didn't slide his head enough, and didn't anticipate the quarterback stepping to him. But, I mean, just the conversation is, we're just going to keep doing what we do and continue to move forward, keep developing the room, and guys got to keep getting better. It's never been about who we play. It's always been about us and us finding our best potential as a room and as a defense. And that hasn't changed. And, I'm excited about Montana, and we've been excited about him since the moment he stepped on campus. And now's the time for him to show what he can do. And he's more than ready. He's been ready most of the year. It's just the other three safeties have played such a high level of football and have played such outstanding football. And he's played some nickel for us. He's played some free. And, whenever he's come in, he's been very consistent, very stable for us. And we expect him to be that presence on next Wednesday.
Kirk Bowles.
Hey, Brian, Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. You got several Longhorns on your side of the ball there. I wonder if you could speak to their emotions and mindset. Is there a payback, or how are they looking at it, and what's their impact been for your unit?
No, I mean, all those guys have been great additions to our program and our culture, and all those guys, it's funny. It's just, that's what the portal has been, right? I mean, one man's trash has been another man's treasure. And that's really kind of the philosophy in terms of, recruiting this portal. And, we're just grateful to have these guys, and they all add value to our roster and our depth. And, it really is. I mean, yes, we're playing in a big game. Yes, it is the quarterfinals of the playoff. And yes, it's against a great Texas team that has been ranked at the top of the polls all year. And, yes, we have familiarity with, a lot of these guys have familiarity with the roster, or have even been on the roster before, but just really trying to keep the focus about us and about taking one play at a time, and just doing our 111th and being consistently good, not occasionally great on defense, and, keeping our philosophy just moving forward. And the more our guys can focus on us and not all the external things, the better off we're going to be.
Can you talk a little bit about Alford and Prince Dorba?
Yeah, just Alford, he's in my, he's obviously in my room, and I've worked with him for, every day for the last 2 years. And just seeing him just grow up as a leader in our program. And, when he set foot on this campus, he was on a mission. And I think a lot of it had to do with his time at Texas and at USC. And he felt like, hey, this was his last opportunity to really get this done, and to make ASU the place that he was going to be the very best he could be. And that's really all he is. I mean, and that's what most of these kids are. They just don't really know what they're capable of until they actually set their feet in the ground and decide to be that person. And that's what Xavion's done since he's got here, and he's been that leader. And I'm just excited. I'm going to try to keep him definitely level-headed, because he's going to be playing, against his home state and the team he rooted for growing up, and that he probably still roots for, you know what I mean, when he's not obviously playing them. So, and then, Prince, same thing. I mean, just, he's been nothing but just a joy to coach since he's been here. And he cares. He's turned into a leader and a mentor among a bunch of our younger players. And I'm sure just that growth, he's starting to become who he's meant to become on the football field, here at Arizona State. And obviously, it's through different storms and different challenges and change that you grow. And both those guys have done that. And credit to Texas, for being a part of that.
Thank you, Brian.
Go to Michael Carantanudo.
Hey, Coach. You talked about, obviously,
Xavion right there, and obviously Montana's starting. But from your standpoint, I mean, the next guy up and doing the 111 that you talked about. But from your standpoint as a coach, what's been the most rewarding thing about seeing the other guys, the leaders, help these younger guys be ready to go?
Leadership is influence. We tell our guys that all the time. And, some guys, lead by example. Some guys are the torchbearers. They're way out front of everybody, or they're the guys behind everybody kind of pushing them along. And we really have different leadership styles, on our defensive side of the ball. And most of these guys didn't come in with that leadership mentality. A lot of these guys are influenced by somebody else. And, and seeing these guys and the encouragement that they give each other, the belief that they have in each other, and that the belief that they have in us coaches. I mean, it really is. It goes hand in hand. And there's an old adage that says, old phrase that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and that really goes both ways. And that's something that we really do share in this locker room and in this program and in this building. And credit to our head coach for building that and laying that foundation for our culture and hiring the coaches to really move that vision forward. And it really has. And that's why we've had the season we've had this year.
I mean, God always have a plan. And, I just feel like his plan right now is just basically showing Montana who Montana Warren is, to the world. And he's going to be a great defensive back for Arizona State for a long time coming. So, I'm like, it is what it is. Montana always, like, when I'm on the sideline, like, when I'm starting and Montana's on the sideline, he do a great job of just telling me what he sees on the sideline. So I just got to be that for this first half, and I'm excited to see him play.
Kirk Bowles.
Yeah, Shamari, Kirk Bowles from Houston Chronicle. How would you explain the situation you guys are in when nobody gave you a chance this year, pick last in the Big 12? And do you guys have like a motto or a mantra going into the playoffs as an underdog?
First off, I'm just blessed to be in this position, And as far as like the team, we just feel like, we've been underdogs. Like the whole team's been underdogs their whole lives. So once you put a whole lot of underdogs on one team, everybody just wanted to prove everybody wrong. And that's just what our goal is this year.
Thank you.
Go to Bob McManaman.
Mari, thanks for doing this, man. I'm just curious as heck how you're going to feel watching the first half and how amped up you're going to be. How are you going to prepare for all that craziness before you get out there and do your thing?
I feel like my job for the first half is just getting all the DBs just ready to play. Just being that hype man to them, just getting Montana ready for certain situations, and that's all I can be able to do. It is what it is, and I'm just excited for the guys and for the guys just to be able to just play a great team.
Danny Davis.
Hey, Shamari. Danny Davis of the Austin American Statesman. I'm just kind of wondering, from what you've seen on film, what kind of stands out about these Texas receivers? Do they do anything especially well, or is there a certain guy that stands out on film?
I mean, they do a good job as a unit. They do a great job of blocking for the screen game, and they just a great team overall. It's gonna be just two great teams going at it, and it's just all about who can be able to withstand the last punches throughout the fourth quarter.
All right, last call for Shamari. Questions for Shamari? Michael, go ahead, Michael.
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, Shamari, I mean, you touched on it a little bit, and I asked Coach Ward, but the leadership of the defense, everybody's got different personalities. You've been one of those leaders. But in dealing with this situation, helping the young guys grow in the competition, and like you said, you want to see what Montana can do. He's talking to you, but with how, Keith has grown and Xavion, how much has that leadership and growth in the secondary helped prepare the younger guys for this moment?
I mean, it just helped the younger guys just want, like they want to get in my position. It just do a great job of the younger guys just did a great job of just sticking to the process, and they don't even, to my opinion, they don't even act like younger guys, because they just been so driven and just want to get out there and go play and just do the best for our team. So I just feel like I just feel like we're gonna just do a great job together, not just as individually. We're just gonna do a great job of protecting each other as a whole.
Thank you.
All right, let's finish up with the last two questions. Chris Cartman, go ahead.
Hey, Shamari. You mentioned the screen game of Texas. How challenging is that when they have the ability to hit you vertically or hit opponents vertically, but also run the ball really well? And then the screen game when you blitz and are very aggressive. What are some of the keys to being successful against that?
Just reading our keys and just trusting what we see. You know, if you read your keys and you just be iffy about doing it, then you're gonna be blocked, and then that's gonna be a positive game for them. You know, they put on pads just like we put on pads, so it's just all about us just doing what we've been doing from the beginning of the year.
Okay, Paul Newberry.
Hi, Paul Newberry from Associated Press in Atlanta. You touched on being an underdog, a team of underdogs that sort of has played off of that mantra all year. You're again a big underdog in this game. Not, many people expecting you guys to win. How do you kind of come at it just keeping that sort of underdog approach and looking at it as another chance to prove people wrong?
Yes, sir. To me, honestly, I like being an underdog because it's less pressure on us. All the pressure is on Texas, and Texas got to face a very good team. So it's just all about us just playing free and just knowing that like we deserve to be here.
All right, we'll finish up with Gina.
Hi, Shamari. Gina Maravilla from Arizona's Family. I'm curious, what do you feel like is the best advice you gave to Xavion?
To Xavion?
Yeah.
I mean, Xavion's he's a pro already, so it really ain't too much advice I could have gave him, because he already know like how to take care of business. And as far as like defensively, I just tell my guys just to have fun, because you like a lot of people in the world would kill to just to be in our position. So it's just all about us just really embracing the moment and just having fun with just playing football.
Sophomore defensive lineman CJ Fite is joining us now. Thank you for the time, CJ. And we have 10 more minutes with him before getting to the next player. Once again, we will do the raised hand function if you have a question, and then you'll unmute yourself when called upon. Let's go ahead and start out with Kurt. Go ahead.
Hey, CJ, Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. In preparing for Texas for the Peach Bowl next week, how difficult has it been? Do they remind you of anybody y'all played? And what's been the hardest thing to start to prepare for?
I mean, I say I wouldn't compare them to anybody. I mean, they're a special team. They're unique. They do a lot of different things. I mean, so I guess the hardest thing is just going this long period of time without playing football. But I know the way Coach Dillingham has structured practice to make sure we're still ready. He's done a great job. So really, these few weeks of practice, it's been just all about us making sure we just play the way we play, stick to the process, do the way we've been doing all year. So yeah.
How would you evaluate their offensive line, CJ?
They're a great unit. Obviously, they were finalists for the Joe Moore Award. So I mean, you have to respect the line, but I mean, we're just gonna do what we have to do like we do every other week. So it's just playing football. At the end of the day, it's football, no matter who you play. So we're gonna play our brand of football and see where that takes us.
Thanks, CJ.
Yes, sir.
All right, Paul Newberry.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Paul Newberry from the Associated Press in Atlanta. Did y'all be honest? Could you have envisioned being in this position at the beginning of the year, coming off the season you did last year, and the fact obviously expectations were pretty low? Did you see this at all in the future for this team this season? And also, was there a moment where you maybe realized it was going to be a special season?
I got this question asked a while back, and like it was like just it's no matter how hard you work or how much work you put in. I mean, it still feels unreal when you get in the position. So I mean, it's like you put in all the work. I mean, we deserve to be here. The work we put in the off season and the way we've been playing football all these weeks. I mean, we deserve to be here. So it's like it doesn't matter if anybody thinks we deserve to be here or not. Well, that we're here, we earned it. So I mean, yeah, that's it.
Cooper Burns.
Hi, CJ. Appreciate your time. Just want to kind of ask you, Brian kind of talked about the running game for Texas. Just kind of wanted to ask maybe what you've seen out of some of the running backs. I know they're pretty patient bunch back there.
Oh yeah, they have a good group of backs. They have a 1-2 punch back there. So I mean, it's just playing assignment football the biggest thing. Just making sure we're all where we're supposed to be, doing our 111th and just doing our job on the field and not messing up the man beside or behind you. So if we do our job, it's all gonna play out, work out how it's supposed to. So I mean, they have great players, but as long as we play our brand of football, and we'll get the job done.
Michael.
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, CJ, when you look at just the leadership overall, and I was asking Shamari about this. I mean, guys stepping and doing the 111th, next man up. But in a game like this, the competition that you've driven each other on all season, how big is it for guys to have leaders like you guys that are pushing them in practice every day?
I mean, with the leaders have to make sure that everybody's getting better each and every day. I mean, obviously, sometimes some programs want coaches, like have coaches do it, but Coach Gillies always said he wants this to be player led, not coach fed. So just making sure that the leaders make sure that everybody's getting better, working every day, sticking to what we do every day, the practice, the work, just the work ethic we do, just how we play football, just making sure that we're just setting a good example for all the players on the team.
Thank you.
Max.
Hey, CJ, Max Spada, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. Good to see you again. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion, really, obviously going back to selection day, of the players who were formerly in Austin who are now going to get the chance to play Texas, potentially in this Peach Bowl if they were able to get past Clemson. And now that that's officially true, what have just been the discussions with guys in your room, guys like Prince, guys like Clayton, guys like people that you know on this defensive side, particularly who have probably more excited than maybe even you are to get a chance to play this kind of a game against that team? What has this been like in just practices and in just locker room discussions with those guys?
I mean, we just play every game like any other game. Obviously, the more weeks you go into it, like the bigger the game gets. It's not like just because we're in the playoffs right now, it's the biggest game. Like even like 3 weeks ago, we were saying it's the biggest game of our lives because it was the game like this week. So just make sure we stick to the process and stand in that headspace. Like obviously, we want to do everything we can to make sure all those guys that played on that team, put good things on tape just to make sure that you play for them, play hard for them, making sure that, because obviously it's like there's something behind them, like obviously coming from there and then having whatever happened there. So just being able to play for them, just making sure we do our jobs. I feel like it just makes us more tuned in, makes us more focused. Just realizing that having that in the back of our head, just making sure that we stick to the process and we're just more process oriented than ever. Just make sure we're sticking to it and fine tuning the details.
Chris.
Hey, CJ, when you guys have extra time to prepare for a game, does that lead to an ability to build more into a game plan or a more complex game plan, or get the game plan that you do have more sort of dialed in? And how might that impact this game?
I mean, whatever game plan the coaches give us, we're going to execute to our best abilities. So I mean, whether it's real complex, whether it's simple, we're going to do what we need to get the job done. So it's like whatever they throw at us, we're going to make sure we get it done. So I don't know how much time they spent game planning, but I mean, what we got on our plates right now, we're just trying to fine tune it, make sure we stick to it, and get better each day.
Would you say this is more complex, on the more complex side, or on the more straightforward side?
I don't know if I can say all that, to be honest. I'm going to
Okay.
leave that one alone. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, last call for questions. Anybody else? Michael, we'll finish up with Michael.
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, CJ, I wanted to ask you too, because I know we talk about leadership of the defense, but with how these linebackers have performed, and I know going into the season, I know I've talked to you before, it's kind of a question, but just the linebackers as a unit, what have they meant to the growth of this defense this year too, and as you get ready for this game against Texas?
Our linebacker core, we have some ballers back there. We have some dogs playing linebacker. So I mean, it makes it easier on the D line, makes it easier for the guys behind them. So like just having a linebackers like they'll go sideline to sideline and they'll go like right in between the tackles and go fit something up. So I mean, the way they trigger, they trigger fast. So the D tackles, we love it, you know. So we get out the double teams easy. I mean, faster. So I mean, I love playing, having them just play behind us and just making sure, you know, we do what we need to do so they can do what they need to do so we can all play together and just get the job done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, CJ. You're all finished, and we'll get a couple other players in here.
All right, thank you all.
Are back. We have senior linebacker Caleb McCullough joining us now. We have 10 minutes with Caleb. Same process. Please use the raise hand function if you have a question, and then unmute yourself when called upon. We have 10 minutes with Caleb before moving on to the next player. So let's start off with Cooper.
Hey, Caleb, I appreciate your time. Just kind of wanted to ask, at the middle linebacking position, kind of looking at Texas, how patient do you think you're going to have to be, especially on some of those slow mesh RPOs that they like to run on sort of medium distance downs?
Pretty patient. I think I'm not too much worried about we linebackers, so we really worried about the run. So I'm not too much worried about the pass as much. I'm really focused on stopping the run.
Once again, use that raised hand function if you have a question. Let's go to Chris.
Caleb, how you doing? Question about their screen game. How do you make sure that you're not overly aggressive playing the run with how impactful that they can be in the screen game, and how does that also impact sort of blitzing? Do you think blitzing calls?
You just got to be your eyes got to be right. That's the main thing. Watch a lot of film, see the difference between like the high hat and when the linemen have low hat, and just really your eyes. You know what I'm saying? The eyes when it comes to screens and stuff like that. Having your eyes on the running back or on the quarterback or on the O line, not flipping around and stuff like that, can really help you.
Danny.
Caleb, excuse me. I was wondering, is there anything about this Texas offense that really stands out to you when you watch them on film?
Not too much that stands out. I'd say just like size, speed. I feel like we played a lot of similar offenses and good offenses, so there ain't too much that stands out. We obviously know any team in the playoffs is going to be a really good team, so that's that.
Paul.
Hi, Paul Newberry from Associated Press in Atlanta. I know this is nothing new for you guys, but when you approach another game where you're a double-digit underdog, at least on the betting lines, and how do y'all? Is this just kind of old hat now that y'all expect that you're gonna have to surprise people?
Yeah, it's kind of we've been underdogs all year. Like I feel like I said in the other interview, I feel like every game we win, we still gonna have doubters. We're gonna have people to say we can go out this week and win by 40, and you'll have people saying stuff about us next week. So it doesn't even really too much of that matter. You always gonna have doubters every week. It's kind of part of playing sports. People are gonna have their opinions, other fans and stuff like that.
Michael.
Yeah, Caleb, as you get ready for this game against Texas, like you said, I mean, you got to do, Coach always talks about you guys doing your 111, but this linebacker group, so much depth. And with your story, obviously sticking through it and working hard, but how do you feel that you've influenced this linebacker group and how do you feel it's grown throughout the season?
Well, just because a lot of the linebackers here, this is their first year here, just being in the defense for 2 years and getting more comfortable, being able to explain to the other guys how I see things and how maybe it could help them play their game and stuff like that. And so I feel like that's the main thing about what I've really been trying to help the backers with, was just trying to like tell them certain things I may have seen last year in the game that they haven't got to see this year, and just help them with things like that.
Thank you.
Max.
Hey, Caleb, Max Spade of Walter Cronkite Sports Network. It's good to see you again. Obviously, maybe one of the more untalked about plays from the Big 12 championship was your open field tackle in the backfield in the opening minutes of the second quarter. That kind of really set the tone, it felt like, defensively almost the rest of the way through. looking at the running back room of Texas and seeing just how explosive they are with the two guys they have, what have you just kind of seen on film in comparison to the running back rooms that you've seen for much of the Big 12 this season that really sets them apart, and what has just been the dynamic discussions really with Coach Cooper and this linebacking room of how you're going to stop that?
Well, a lot of the time you face running backs, it's always like one guy, but they got like a couple guys that can go. So it's just and I'm not too much worried about it because our depth at linebacker is preparing us for that. We got fresh guys going in and out the game, so it's not really like guys are coming in the game fresh, ready to be physical. And I just feel like we got to do what we do every week. Every week our goal is to stop the run, and I feel like this week it don't end here.
Last call for questions for Caleb. Anybody else has a question? Okay, thank you so much, Caleb. Our final player of the day is junior defensive back Xavion Alford. Thank you for joining us, X. We have 10 minutes with him, and then we have to end the Zoom. But let's go ahead and get started with questions. Let's begin with Max.
Hey, Xavier, Max Spade, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. It's good to see you again. Obviously, the discussions surrounding, Shamari and obviously the targeting penalty and obviously everything that's happened since then, he's made it very clear that he's excited about Montana Warren getting the chance to play. What has been your discussion just as one of the leaders in this safety room outside of Shamari? What are the discussions you just had with him and him trying to understand that he's not going to get to play in the first half of a game that means so much to him? And also, how important is it for people like you and Ghost to really just step up as leaders in that first half when everyone's just going to be trying to crowd that, especially in the passing game? And what have just been the discussions really been like in the DB room these last 3 weeks?
Shamari is a leader on our team as well. It's very unfortunate that he's not going to be with us with the first half in the game, but he'll still be there, as a leader and as a teammate on the sidelines and things of that nature. But I mean, this whole year we've had, the next man up mentality. You could look back in the past, there were games that maybe we were missing, one of our talented players on offense or the defensive side, we were able to compensate for that. So it's just been, like I said, the next man up mentality. It's not really been too much of a, I would say change. We just, the process has been the same, all year for us. I'm excited for Montana as well. He's been here. He's like my little brother. I've seen him grow and grow and grow, and now, he's finally like letting him out. Just to go out and play. And go have fun. So it'll be exciting to be out there on the field with those guys and just play a game of football.
Cooper.
Hi, Xavion. Good to see you again. You've really been the defensive leader all season, or just kind of a team leader all season as well. Obviously, this is kind of new to everybody, the CFP and doing all the media and whatnot. Have you tried to be a leader to other people on the team, whether it be offense or defense, with all this media and everybody kind of talking about you right now?
I would say that, everybody on our team is pretty mature guys. They know we're not really focused on getting caught up in the media because, even though we're doing a lot of media, all of the media is not good, for us at least. We've been the underdogs, the whole year. So you might look in the media, it might not be things that you want to see. So, we're really focused on just, being ourselves, playing our game, focusing on the things we can control. We can't control what the media says or what anybody else thinks of us. We can just control what we think of each other and what we do each and every day to get better, get prepared for this game until January 1st comes. But, I've been, just, keeping everybody focused, things of that nature, just trying to stay focused on this game. We've been obviously off for 3 weeks, everybody's feeling refreshed, body's feeling refreshed, mind. So we're just ready to attack it again.
Michael.
Yeah, Xavier, when you talk about that, other guys stepping up, unfortunately, like you said, it's been an advantage to deal with guys getting targeting calls and missing halves of the game. But overall, as a defense, when you're doing that from a leadership standpoint, how do you feel that you guys have helped just the team respond and, like you kind of alluded to, but just kind of stay calm and just play the game?
Yeah, I think, this year, this team, we just don't flinch, no matter what happens, getting down in games, losing a key player, regardless of what it is. I just feel like, we just have that, next man or next thing mentality. We've been dealing with adversity all year. You know, and we've been able to overcome it, you know, in our own ways. You know, credit to the whole staff, you know, all the way throughout the offseason, spring ball, fall camp, they put us in chaos situations. So we know how to respond. You know, everything about our offseason was about responding and finishing games. So, you know, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And finish is a big word in our program. And, you know, we just gonna, like I said, just, you know, same process has been for us, you know, treating it like another game, just another game, no matter the location, no matter where we are at the time, as long as we do what we do and focus on our core values, then, you know, we feel like we should get the outcome that we want.
And then a quick follow up to that too, with the linebackers, because you said questions coming in the season. People talked about the depth of the secondary that you guys had, and maybe what the defensive line was. The linebackers had to answer questions. I mean, to your point, you've seen it obviously with your eyes every day in practice. How do you feel that they've answered that? How do you feel this group has developed and helped the defense grow?
Man, I would say tremendously. I would say just us together as a defense, you know, we all came together and, you know, we created a brotherhood, you know, on defense. Obviously, you know, playing offense is good, but playing defense is like, it's just it's different mentality, you know, but, you know, through our fall camp, you know, we preached that, you know, we wanted to be one of the better defenses in the country and that it was going to take everybody. It's not just going to take the starters, it's not just going to take the people that's not starters. It's going to take everybody that's a part of the defense, you know, scout team, and so forth. So we feel like, you know, we've been prepared, you know, to keep on having that next man mentality throughout the season. And we just, you know, like I said, going to tag it the same way, same process, do what we've been doing, and then, you know, see the outcome we get.
Thank you.
Danny?
Hey, Xavion, Danny Davis, the Austin American Statesman. Since I'm calling in from Austin, got to ask you about playing your old team and just kind of, you know, I know you're only here for a year, but just seeing some of the guys you used to play with that are still on this Texas team.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. You know, I'm very closely, you know, with Jade Barron, one of the better players over there. Jalen Gilbo as well. I'm really close with those two guys. But you know, just being there, being a kid from Texas, you know, signing there out of high school, you know, was a great opportunity. You know, great experience and everything. And then, you know, like now getting to play against them somewhere else, you know, it's kind of like the best of both worlds, really. You know, I played with them and I get to play against them. You know, but you know, it was great my time there. You know, I had to move on, better things for my future and things of that nature. But you know, it's gonna be good just seeing some familiar faces and, you know, just being a Texas kid, you know, playing against Texas. So
I'm sure, you know, people back home are excited for you regardless, but have the phone calls been a little bit more this week since you are playing Texas?
yeah, they have, you know, it's been picking up definitely. It's like, oh, you went there, you know, such a thing. But like I said, I just view it as another game. You know, I went there, signed there. It is what it is. I knew it was a possibility that we could play each other in CFP. And then you know, obviously here we are, you know, a couple days out, 4 days out before the game, and it's here. So not really too focused on all the outside factors, just focusing on what I control, focus on doing my job each and every play and getting prepared for the game.
Thank you.
Let's go to Paul.
Hi, Paul Newberry from Associated Press in Atlanta. This is sort of new this year, so, you know, it's kind of speculating. But with the 12-team playoff, do you think the bye is that you guys didn't play last week, is that an advantage to you guys getting that extra rest? Or, you know, do you think a team playing, getting a little, you know, they've played since way since you guys have. So how do you just view the bye as who maybe has an advantage there?
I think it varies, you know. I think everybody's situation is different. You know, for us, team that's been, you know, we've been playing hard all year. Everybody's been playing games. We've been playing hard all year, you know, going at it back to back to back, you know. You know, we were hoping that we could get a bye and just relax and refresh because, you know, we know what we were capable of. We wanted to, you know, our bodies to feel fresh, even our minds. You know, we've been in the building since January, been going at it strong. It's December now. So, you know, just to have some time to really just self-scout and reflect on ourselves and work on ourselves, you know, and be able to dive back into it is really good. Like I said, and it varies. And for teams that's playing, you know, sometimes that could be good or bad. You know, you can kind of get in a groove and routine and be hot, or, you know, you could kind of be banged up from the game before. So it really depends, you know. So I think it has its advantages and disadvantages depending on who you are.
Last call for questions for X. If you have one, please hit your raised hand function. John, is that a question? John Kenny?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
okay?
Sorry.
Go ahead, John. That's all right. John, go ahead.
John Kenny, Inferno Intel. How did y'all prepare like this past week not knowing if you were going to play Clemson or Texas. How did you prepare as a team, not knowing who you were going to face?
We're, in this program, we're big on focusing on ourselves. So we really use that time to focus on ourselves, find things that we can get better at, each and every day. Throughout those times we were off, we watched both teams, obviously, just to see what they could offer and what we might have to do against either one of those teams. But mainly the focus was on ourselves and, refreshing our minds and refreshing our bodies, to be able to go play this game, full speed, 100%, as best as we can.